last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Good morning! Today is Tuesday, Parshas Vayigash, Gimel Taivas Tuvshim Pai Vuv. On Edge. It's December 23rd, 2025, Lemis Buram on Edge. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I am pleased to be your host on Edge. Now, before we get to the news, first, let's thank our sponsor of today, Protobyte, 347-354-1237. Who is Protobyte? Protobyte? Well, they specialize in web and app development, suitable for your business, custom-made. Stop with all the multiple apps that you have running your business and get one custom-made website tied into your software for all your needs, all your business needs, and start making some money. Call Protobyte on 347-354-1237, or for my English friends out there, and anyone who wants to WhatsApp them, have a look at the screen, the number is below. Okay, heavy rain is falling in parts of Israel right now. In Netanya, the streets turned into flowing rivers. Officials say the rain came down so fast that about 40 millimeters fell just in 1 hour. That is more than 1.5 inches. The city drains just could not handle that much water at once. Boys were kayaking in the streams to try and save stranded people amid the flowing streets. No pun intended, obviously. People in Netanya are checking their apps to see if Uber has a boat option. No kidding. Israel is quietly building a massive new military wall in the sea with Greece and Cyprus, Jovan and Kafrisen. The plan creates a joint force of 2,500 troops to stop Turkey from dominating the eastern Mediterranean. These soldiers will share bases, ships and planes to protect the vital gas lines and communication cables. With Europe desperate to replace Russian energy, this pipeline is now a critical lifeline for the West. While officials call it defense, the real target is obvious. They are blocking Erdogan's blue homeland plan to control the waters. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, like I reported yesterday, hit back at the Turkish dictator Erdogan yesterday, warning that Jerusalem is our city, not yours, and that his dreams of the Ottoman Empire are over, saying, quote, To those who fantasize they can re-establish their empires and their dominion over our lands, I say forget it. It's not going to happen. Don't even think about it, end quote. Defense leaders met yesterday to plan how to fight together on land, air and sea. Cyprus is now a key forward base for Israel. Israel already placed the Barak MX system there in 2025, a powerful shield that shoots down missiles, drones and aircraft. Turkey still occupies 40% of Cyprus since 1974, but Israel is now stepping in to balance the power. This alliance sends a clear message that the region is closed to Islamist expansion. The private jet of the chief of staff for Western Libya has vanished from radar just now. It disappeared just after taking off from Ankara, which is in Turkey. The missing general is Mohammed Ali al-Haddad. He leads the forces in Tripoli that work with Turkey against the rival government in the east. He had just finished a meeting with the Turkish defense minister. The Interior Ministry says the plane took off at about 8:10 p.m. local time. At 8:52 local time p.m., it simply dropped off the screens. Turkey has closed its airspace, and there is a strong fear the plane crashed. Or something else. You never know. Let's ask the people behind the Beaver attack. Maybe they know. It took 20 years to decide that the best way to keep the neighbors quiet... You see, I just did what Ben Shapiro said that you should not do, is question something without basing it on facts. So, I take it back. Okay. It took 20 years to decide that the best way to keep the neighbors quiet is to actually live next door. Defense Minister Israel Katz declared today that Israel is done retreating. Speaking in Bet El Convention, he announced that Israel will never fully withdraw from Gaza. Instead, the army is planning new Nachal outposts in the north of the Strip. These are special bases where youth soldiers live, farm and defend the land, often turning them into permanent towns later. Katz said clearly, when the time comes, we'll rebuild. Well, we are deep inside Gaza and will never leave, he said. He called this practical sovereignty, admitting that the 2005 pullout 20 years ago from Gush Katif, for those who remember, was a disaster that allowed Islamic terrorists to build a murder kingdom like we just saw. While Washington and Europe still dream of international peacekeepers, Israeli leaders now accept the hard truth. If the IDF leaves, the terror comes back. Families who were thrown out of their homes 20 years ago, those who remember from Gush Katif, view this as a moral victory and the first step toward returning home. In Lebanon, the Lebanese army admits that an Israeli airstrike killed one of their soldiers yesterday. His name was Ali Abdullah. He was a sergeant in the anti-tank unit near Tzidon. But this was no regular soldier. Reports confirm he was actually a Hezbollah terrorist working from inside the army. He was an expert in anti-tank missiles. The only question left is which flag they will put on his coffin tomorrow. Will it be the flag of Lebanon? Or will it be the yellow flag of the terrorist group known as Hezbollah? A retired Lebanese officer has vanished. Speaking of vanished planes, and Beirut is panicking. Ahmad Shakar disappeared without a trace, but his phone told a different story. It pinged for exactly 37 seconds in the village of Al-Sweri in the Bekaa Valley before going dead. This location is just 25 kilometers from Mount Hermon, Har Hermon, for those of you who know where this is, which is held by the IDF. The Lebanese are convinced that an Israeli commando team quietly crossed the line, grabbed him and dragged him back into Israel. Now, as we promised yesterday, on Edge, we will tell you what the Trump administration announced yesterday. President Trump, standing alongside Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Navy Secretary John Pellon, unveiled the plan for the Golden Fleet. This is not just a new ship, it is a new era for the American Navy. The president announced the creation of the Trump-class battleship, a massive 40,000-ton floating fortress. These ships will be the largest surface combatants ever built, designed to replace the aging fleet with pure power. They won't just carry sailors, they will be packed with next-generation technology. We are talking about hypersonic missiles, nuclear cruise missiles, and even high-powered lasers and railguns. Trump declared that these ships will be 100 times more powerful than anything on the water today. The plan starts with 2 ships, but the goal is to build 20 of them, all right here in American shipyards. Navy Secretary Pellon warned that the shipyards need to act like we are at war to get this done fast. It is a clear message to China. The sleeping giant is awake, and he is bringing the big guns. Trump is building battleships that shoot lasers. In other news, Trump is squeezing Venezuela very hard, and the world is picking sides. Supporters say he is stopping drug smugglers and cutting off illegal money. The left and foreign critics are calling it straight-up piracy and robbery, including the dictator himself, Maduro. But the risk is real. The blockade could turn into an actual war at sea. Maduro is sending Navy ships to escort his tankers, and Iran is helping him. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is not waiting. He is already training Marines for exactly this kind of fight. If this continues, it could destroy Venezuela's economy and send oil prices through the roof. China is furious because they are the main buyers of that oil. Attorney General Pam Bondi hinted the real goal is to topple the regime. Trump frames it as a war on drugs to help him in the 2026 midterm elections. Whether it is about drugs, influence, or oil, the US is ready to take it. Vice President J.D. Vance is proving he is ready to fight. Ready for a fight. He traveled to the Navy SEALs base in California to train directly with troops. Instead of sitting in an office, he joined the toughest soldiers in the American military. He is sending a message that he is serious about national security. He's the vice president indeed, so I assume they let him skip the part where they tie you up in the freezing ocean. Well, boot camp protocol, right? Vice President, speaking of which, J.D. Vance is the new king of the MAGA movement, Make America Great Again movement. And the base is refusing to abandon Israel, obviously, at the America Fest Memorial for Charlie Kirk in Phoenix, which I mentioned yesterday, what happened 2 days ago. A new straw poll, an unofficial vote taken by the crowd in the room, shows exactly where the party stands. J.D. Vance dominated the vote for the 2028 nomination with 84% support. That is even higher than his president, Donald J. Trump, polled at the same event 2 years ago. The crowd of 20,000 young conservatives also rejected the anti-Israel talk from voices like Tucker Carlson. Almost 87% labeled Israel an ally. When Tucker Carlson tried to scold the room for Islamophobia, the audience pushed back loudly. In fact, they voted radical Islam as the #1 threat to the United States. On the home front, 90% want a total freeze on immigration. Ending the war in Ukraine came at the very last. The most popular cabinet members are Pete Hegseth, RFK. Well, before I go there, I just want to say, about the most popular cabinet members, Ben Shapiro also spoke loudly against Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens for what I said before, that when you speak facts, you gotta have proof. When you speak theories, when you bring conspiracy theories, you have to base them on facts. You can't just say, "I'm just asking a question. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that," without any facts. This is lies. This is pure lies, even if you do it that way. So conspiracy theories, at the very best. The most popular cabinet members are Pete Hegseth, well, based off the vote, RFK Jr. and Marco Rubio, while Pam Bondi polled the lowest. Kirk may be gone, but his warning about the danger of Islamism, whatever you call it, is now the main view of the movement. Vance is polling higher than the boss, and Tucker Carlson just learned that you can't lecture a crowd that knows exactly who the enemy is. The American economy is growing faster than it has in 2 years. New numbers show a strong 4.3% jump during the summer. This is much higher than what the experts guessed. President Trump says his tariffs are the reason for the success. He promised that this is the only start. Well, this is only the start of the good times, golden America, right? Gas prices are dropping fast across America, even though the oil market is rising. The price of crude oil actually went up to nearly $58 a barrel because of the tension with Venezuela. But at the pump, the price is falling. This is because the US and Canada are producing massive amounts of oil right now. Diesel is down to an average of $3.57. In places like Oklahoma, you can now find gas for under $2 a gallon. Well, gas is under $2. At this rate, it might actually be cheaper to drive your car than buying a bottle of water. The man in charge of America's cyber secrets reportedly cannot even pass a lie detector test. His name is Madhu Gatumukalla. He is the acting director of the Federal Cybersecurity Agency, which failed the polygraph test while trying to get access to top-secret spy programs. It seems he is not the only one in trouble. Reports say 6 high-ranking officials were suspended in connection with this scandal. The Department of Homeland Security is officially denying the story, claiming it is all false, but usually when the government denies a purge this loudly, it means something big is going on behind the curtains. When the guy in charge of security fails the security check, it might be time for the government to change their passwords. That's just the same. 2 ISIS terrorists were found guilty today of planning a mass slaughter of Yidden, Rahman al-Islam, in England. Police say it could have been the deadliest attack in British history. Walid Saadoui and Ammar Hussain tried to buy automatic weapons and 900 rounds of ammunition. They planned to shoot up schools, and a Jewish march in Manchester, Rahman al-Islam. They claimed it was revenge for the war in Gaza. Thankfully, the gun dealer who sold them the weapons was actually an undercover police officer. Both men are now facing life in prison. A third man was also convicted for knowing the plan and keeping his mouth shut. Well, Baruch Hashem, it's a lot more than that, actually. We have to thank Hashem every single day. Often a nisim that they found these rotzchim, and obviously the Bondi Beach attack. Also, we mentioned yesterday the major nisim that happened within. The light within the darkness, obviously, but these countries think they're helping. They think they're stepping up. They're waiting for disasters to happen. But listen, maybe England is stepping up their game. You never know. Greta Thunberg, who knows who she is? You know her, the green activist and the one who sent a few flotillas to try and save the Palestinian cause, in Gaza. Greta Thunberg is in handcuffs today after getting caught supporting a banned terror group in London. The famous activist was arrested under the Terrorism Act for holding a sign supporting Palestine action. This is the radical group that violently attacks companies working with the Israeli military. UK police, took her into custody after the mob smashed a building with hammers and covered it in red paint. Greta calls these jailed criminals political prisoners, but the British law simply calls them terrorists. Go back to saving penguins, scheiß. The mosque linked to the Bondi Beach Hanukkah slaughter is finally being shut down. Authorities ordered the closure of the center run by Jew-hater Wissam Haddad. Wissam Haddad is known for inciting violence against Yidden in Australia and is linked to Navid Akram, the main terrorist behind the horrific attack that we lost 15 Kedoshim, including a 10-year-old child. While Haddad claims he is innocent, the government found a legal way to lock him out. They enforced a rule stating the building was never actually permitted to be a mosque in the very first place. A senior doctor in India was suspended after he was caught violently beating a sick patient. listen to this, in India, Dr. Rajab Narullah, a top physician in the Shimla district, lost his temper when a man lay down on the wrong bed. After a lung test, instead of asking him to move, the doctor and colleague attacked him right there in the ward. This patient, who came in for a simple checkup, ended up needing medical treatment for the assault. I don't know if that doctor treated him, but definitely somebody else did. He went in for a cough and left with a black eye. That is what I call a thorough checkup. Canada has a new man in Washington to handle Donald J. Trump. Prime Minister Mark Carney has appointed Mark Weissman, a former executive of the massive investment firm BlackRock, as the new ambassador to the United States. Weissman is taking the job at a very dangerous time for the relationship. Trump recently froze trade talks after the province of Ontario ran an ad attacking his tariffs, using Ronald Reagan's video and doctoring the footage. The president has already slapped taxes on Canadian metals, lumber and cars, but the appointment is already sparking anger back home in Canada. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, the one eating apples, the one who lost to Mark Carney, the conservative leader, is tearing into the choice because Weissman has co-founded the Century Initiative. That is a group pushing for massive immigration to get Canada's population to 100 million people. Pierre Poilievre says the policy crushes the healthcare system and makes the cost of living explode. A disturbing new report exposes, in New York City now, people running Mamdani's transition team. 25% of his staff have ties to groups that hate Jews and that hate Israel. Some of these officials cheered for the mob supporting Islamic terrorists on college campuses. Others have connections to the notorious Jew hater Louis Farrakhan. One official already quit last week after his old anti-Semitic comments were revealed. However, the report also notes that there are also 25 members on the team who have a history of helping Yidden. So, for those who didn't yet hear my shmis with Yossi Brach on Spin the Edge, have a look. It's on YouTube, and also you can find it on Yiddish24. A fire broke out last night in the Korn's Bakery building in Borough Park. The flames spread through the air vents at the store on 15th Avenue. It caused a lot of damage to the building, but Baruch Hashem, nobody was hurt. Now let's talk about our sponsors. The TREP Plan. Reb David Manunu is here to help your business grow and make some money. Call him at 845-414-8100. Mention on Edge. Again, number is 845-414-8100. If you're hungry, you want to go get yourself a nice shawarma or other food on the menu that night. Well, they open every single night till 10:30, and Thursday night they open till Chatzos Halayla, selling you chulent and all the kind of things that you want to have on Lyle Shishi. Shawarma Delight, mentioned on Edge for a free drink, located on 26 Spring Valley Marketplace, right off exit 14. And for free deliveries, go on to sdny.store and order yourself a shawarma right to your door. YS Capital Group, the answer is yes. Call 718-831-2168 for your investments. If you want to make an investment, call YS Capital Group on 718-831-2168. Arrive Express, you want to book yourself a taxi, call the Upstate Fleet, 845-622-1111. From Monroe, 845-254-1111. And, like I said, On Edge News is accessible on Yiddish24. We give the Yiddish segment for almost a year. Well, I'd say it's not yet a year, but so far we reach close to 50,000 Yidden, 50 to 60,000 Yidden a day on average. Baruch Hashem. So for those who want to support us, call us on 845-671-1775. And you can email us on onedgenews@gmail.com or go on to onedgenews.com and, explore our episodes and see our news. If you're interested in watching news from 3 weeks ago, you can always find it there, which will link you to Yiddish24.com. And you can go on Kol Mevaser and call 118 from the main menu as well. The Powerball jackpot has exploded again, hitting a staggering $1.7 billion with a base dollars. Last night's drawing came and went without a grand prize winner. For those checking their tickets, the numbers were 3, 18, 36, 41, and 54, with the Powerball being 7. While no one took the whole pot, there were still some big winners. 9 tickets won $1 million each, including 2 lucky players right here in New York. The price of silver made history, hitting $70 an ounce for the first time ever. At the same time, gold is now sitting nearly $4,500. The same analysts who correctly predicted the rise to $4,000 are now raising their targets again. They predict gold will hit $6,000 by the end of 2026. By 2030, they expect it to reach a massive $10,000 jump an ounce. Now, my friends, today I want to wish a hearty mazel tov to the founder of Yiddish24 and Kol Mevaser. Today is his birthday. and a mazel tov, and a massive and huge thank you to him for obviously supporting this program and for making this happen. Again, mazel tov, and lots of nachas and atzlucha, and lots of parnusa and bruchas for the whole, for you, and also for those you listening. You say amen and take the bracha. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you by Ezra Shem Yisborach tomorrow.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.